It's a beautiful Friday morning here in Lagos, and this is This Morning on Voice of the People Television. I am Chukwuma Okoro. On our table today, End Bad Governance, movement calls for June 12 protest, condemns Tinubu'S 2-year tenure. Plus, call to rule on evidence in Nnamdi Kanu's trial as police heighten security ahead of Biafra Day. Today is the 30th of May 2025. It's been declared Biafra Day by the indigenous people of Biafra. Away from that, state of the nation, over 10,000 killed under Tinubu. That's coming from Amnesty International, as PRP accuses federal government of loan embezzlement amid rising insecurity.
All right, well, these are the conversations on our table this morning, and troubling as they appear, we have no choice but to find a way to dissect them and, probably profess solution to some of the issues that Nigeria is facing. Well, I am Moses Humphrey, and away from those conversations, there are other conversations that Nigerians are having. One of them is, Nigerians are talking about the new finance, the new president of African Development Bank. I wonder why Nigerians are talking about this, because I know that Akinwumi Adesina has done a few attempts. Anyway, Mauritanian economist and former finance minister Sidi Ould has been elected as the 9th president of the African Development Bank, AFDB, succeeding Nigeria's Akinwumi Adesina. The election took place during the bank's annual meetings in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, where Tar secured over 76% of the vote after 3 rounds, defeating candidates from Senegal, Zambia, Chad, and South Africa. Tar brings over 35 years of experience in African and international finance, including a decade-long tenure as president of the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, BADIA. Now, where he led significant transformation that quadrupled the bank's balance sheet and achieved a AAA rating. Now, he's set to assume office on September 1, 2025 for a 5-year term. If I'm not mistaken, I think Akinwumi Adesina has done 2 terms.
Yes, 2 terms.
2 terms. So he has served out his term, and it's time for the baton to change hands. And yes, it has. So, Tar will get all the support. Of course, he has a well of experience under his belt, and I do believe Africans will benefit from his time in office. It was a keenly contested one indeed, and congratulations to the Mauritanian.
Yes, the point here is Africans benefiting from his tenure as the president of AFDB. I don't have a problem with who emerged as the president of AFDB because I tried to look up Sidi Tar, and everything I saw about him is just glowing tributes, and you hardly find where in the media where people talk evil of public officers, except sparingly. So I didn't expect to see anything that would say that, look, he ran aground the Mauritanian economy, or when he was in the bank back there that he did this or that. Everything is just glory, glory, glory. But my worry is what AFDB stands for in the development of the African continent. AFDB has been there for a while. I think the only thing they have done is to push out money to African governments. Has that solved our problem? Basically, no.
Well, it's not just. I don't think it's just about pushing out money. They've also tried to advise on how to use the monies. So it's the onus is on the governments themselves.
Exactly the point.
The government should be able to use the money as well.
No, I don't have a problem with them pushing out the money. If you push out money to me and misuse the money, you come back in another circle and push out the same money to me. So I mean,
it's business. You get to pay back with interest.
With interest, are they paying? Yeah, that is my concern. Because I don't want it to. You know that America also has substantial interest in AFDB. So because I don't want to see AFDB transform into another neo-colonial entity, that is used to hold African countries down. Because On rare occasions do our debts written out. I think we were very lucky for the Paris and the London clubs to write off those $30 billion dollar debts. And that was in 2003, or during the Obasanjo administration. So beyond dishing out money and giving advice, between the AFDB and African leaders, they should sit down and say, look, this is what Africa needs. Despite all they have done in Africa for the years they've existed, we still have the triple paradox. Africa is the most endowed, Africa is the poorest. In terms of resources, Africa has the best, the most, yet Africa is still the dark continent in terms of electricity generation and all of that. In terms of the gold reserves are held here in Africa. But what happens? Africa is still the poorest, the most indebted. So between the AFDB, the AU, NEPAD, and all other agencies, sub-regional organizations like ECOWAS, SADC, IEA, and all of that, they should sit down and put things together. Because Africa cannot continue to be the dark continent. For how long? People that started with us have all moved up. Even Latin American countries are doing better than us now. What of Asia? Asia is doing very well, competing with Europe. But Africa is still the weeping child, looking for who to spoon feed them. So I expect that between the AU, AFDB, and all other agencies in Africa, they should sit down and say, look, enough of this. Let us move this continent forward. That's my concern. Anyway, congratulations to Sidi Tar and to our own Adesina, who did a very good job because he left there in flying colors, in glory, and the world is applauding Adesina for the work that he did. Anyway, congratulations to both of them.
Congratulations to them.
Away from that, a devastating overnight flash flood has claimed 21 lives and left over 10 people. I heard that over 50 people. There are accounts that say 50 dead, many missing in a Mokwa local government area of Niger State. Triggered by hours of torrential rainfall, the floodwater has swept through the communities of Tifin Maza and Angowan Hausawa, submerging and washing away more than 50 residential houses. Emergency responders from the Niger State Emergency Management Agency in SEMA, alongside local divers and volunteers, have launched intensive search and rescue operations. 3 survivors, a woman and her 2 children, are currently receiving treatment at Mokwa General Hospital, while efforts continue to locate missing and provide relief to affected families. Oh well, this is a natural disaster. It has happened. Natural disasters always happen. But the point is, how do you respond to these natural disasters? I don't know Mokwa, it's in part of Niger State. I don't know if it is a city or if it is a local community. Because why I say this is in light of the fact that in cities, you see drainages, that are clogged with debris and all of that. People, when you finish drinking the sachet water, you dump it, the bottled water, you dump it. People take refuge from inside the house and dump them in the drainages. And at the end of the day, the drainages are blocked. So when rain falls, like they say, water must always find its level, and if it is unable to get into the waterways and all of that, naturally it will overflow and get into people's houses and all of that. Unfortunately, we have more than 50 people dead, and reports say that it could be more. Well, rescue operations continue. My heart goes out to families that have lost loved ones and also the Niger State government. But beyond that, I think these things happen every other time. How are we able to respond to them? That is the bigger question. Fire incidents, water flood incidents, how are we able to respond to them? This thing happened last year, probably not in Mokwa, but in other parts of the country. And again, what precautions have we taken to ensure that in the event of all of this, that we are able to save lives? One life lost is not good at all. Unfortunately, that is what we have become as a people.
Yes, quite unfortunate, I must say. We're talking about clogged drainages and the rest. Some states are doing something in that regard, even though I think it's not enough. I think more can be done to ensure that the things that we use, nylons and these materials that are not degradable, that go ahead to clog channels and the rest, are maybe stopped or reduced. The usage of them reduced. I know that in Lagos, you don't use these styrofoams anymore. A lot of them have been, there's a law against the usage of styrofoams. Excuse me. So when you go to buy food, you're either given the plastic plates, the reusable plastic plates, or you're asked to bring your own plate from home, which I think is a laudable move. Now, when you go to stores to buy things, supermarkets and the rest, you're asked to buy the nylon. And then you know that if you don't want to spend that 500 or 200 or thereabout buying the nylon, you take your nylon from home. So you have a reusable nylon as against buying nylon that you just squeeze and throw away. But I still see people buy, little things like biscuits and bread with those black nylons, and they still get those things, and they still throw those things, and those things get into channels, gutters, and the rest, and they still clog those places. I think government should do more in preventing the usage of such things that don't dissolve, and also that will help in decongesting the drainages. Drainages in urban areas can be desilted. Yes, that can be done to ensure that flood waters flow through. Now you ask, what is done in other climes? Now, Mokwa obviously looks like a rural area. Sounds like, I think it's a rural area. Now, what is done in other climes, in other parts of the world, is government will move people to higher ground. Maybe some abandoned school or some, facility, move them. Because, when these floods are going to happen. You know when the rains are going to be heavy. When you will have, torrential rainfall and the rest. So you move people. Now, those that refuse to move, that's a different thing entirely. You move them to higher ground. Now, when the waters starts to abate, then you move them back. That's what government in other climes do. But here in Nigeria, we have government that will tell people, move to higher ground. They don't have money to rent another apartment. They stay where they stay, probably because they inherited it, or probably because the houses there are affordable, and that's what people can pay for. And people stay there. In fact, we have a bigger problem. I don't know if you saw the news about Ido Under Bridge. As bad as that area looks, people are paying, humongous amounts of money.
Yes,
I think 1.6 million a year. Now, I don't think a lot of it is residential. I think they use it as a storage for their goods, and maybe some reside around there. But that's to emphasize the housing deficit that we are facing in Nigeria. A lot of it is not being, what is government doing? We have 753 houses. We're still looking at probably converting, selling to the ordinary Nigerian, and the man who owns it is going to court to reclaim it. It's his. It's his property, really. If there's anything wrong with the filing of that case, he could take it back.
He could take it back.
If there's
on technical
grounds, exactly. He could take it back. 753 houses.
That's funny, right?
Government should do more. Government should do more. The onus really is on the government. Now, the people in these areas, now, it's the rainfall now. It's floods and flash floods and the rest. Very soon, before September or around September, October, I hope we will not hear of dams collapsing again and floods washing off homes and the rest, because it has happened in the past. Alao Dam, we're still talking about Alao Dam and the rest. I hope something will be done differently to ensure that Nigerians will not suffer things that they have really no control over. The populace now. So government should go in and do what it needs to do. Anyway, away from that conversation, let's go to the courts now. The Court of Appeal in Abuja has reaffirmed the election of Monday Okpebholo as the duly elected governor of Edo State, dismissing the appeal filed by the People's Democratic Party and its candidate, Asue Ighodalo. Now, the court ruled that the petition failed to provide convincing evidence to back their claims of electoral malpractice and irregularities in the September 2024 governorship poll. The judgment solidifies Okpebholo's mandate and is seen as a major win for the All Progressive Congress APC, while Ighodalo and the PDP are expected to proceed to the Supreme Court in pursuit of further legal redress. Oh well, it is congratulations. Congratulations are in place for Governor Monday Okpebholo. That's how it is in Nigeria. Just be declared winner first in an election. That's all it takes. Be declared winner of the election. Let the contending parties go to court, and you're very likely to have your day. To retain the victory at the end of the day. That's just what it is in Nigeria. Anyway, that's all I have to say in that regard.
When you say just win the election and you go to court, it's become our mantra here in Nigeria. Go to court. If you are dissatisfied, go to court. If you are disagree, go to court. If you are not happy, go to court. Well, I don't know what the courts have become. Congratulations to Senator Monday Okpebholo, governor of Edo State. At least the Court of Appeal has reaffirmed his election as the validly elected governor of Edo State. But like you said, in your intro, Aswa Ihodalo and the PDP, they say they are going to proceed to the Supreme Court. Let us see how it pans out. Two things on this issue is that, one, I think there is a proposal. The proposal came up before, it was shut down. And again, it's on the table that after an election, all the cases bordering on that election should be dispensed with before the person is sworn in, or in the case of members of the legislature, they are inaugurated into the assembly. That way, the person gets to concentrate fully, wholly on governance or on legislating or whatever he is asked to do, whether he's been elected to do. A situation where we have, in my state, we had a governor go to court for 3 years. And the man clearly said, look, I am distracted. Okay, Bazo. After his election, he was in court for 3 years up until the Supreme Court. So when he lost the 2023 election, when his party lost the 2023 election to Labour Party, to Alex Otti, okay, Bazo said, look, the elections have been won and lost. Let this man govern. I use myself as a test case. When I won the election, it took me 3 years of going to court. And clearly, governance was put on the back burner. I was disturbed. So let us allow this man to concentrate in governance. That didn't happen. PDP said, no, we won't allow it to happen. Whatever reason they had to do that, they went to court. Finally, Alex Otti won at the Supreme Court. So all those months of distraction, what happens to governance? So in this case, Okpebholo is going to court. ASUA is dragging him to court. PDP is dragging him to court. ADC is taking, two other parties, I can't remember on top of my head. They are all in court and they are proceeding to Supreme Court. 6 months, 1 year down the line, the man is facing court cases. It shouldn't be. If we are amending the Electoral Act, please let us ensure that after an election, all the legal cases must be dispensed with before the person is sworn into office so that the person concentrates. While I was looking at this case, I discovered that Okpebholo scored 291,000 votes, to win the election. And as the first runner-up, Aswa Ihodalo, scored 247,000. So what does that tell you? It tells you that 247,000 people have been shut out, practically out of governance because of what we do here, first past the post. So what happens to the ideologies, the interests of those 247,000 people? For the next 4 years, they wouldn't get representation as far as the executive is concerned, because the governor is going to choose members of his party as commissioners, board members, and all of that. I recall that President Goodluck Jonathan said, look, this winner takes it all. It's not clearly democratic because it doesn't reflect on the wishes and aspirations of the generality of the people. In the last general election, between the Labour Party and the PDP, if you put their votes together, they scored more than the APC. So, technically speaking, the people that want Tinubu in office are less than the people that wanted both Atiku and Obi in office. So, proportional representation, that is the way to go. Is there any way we can tinker with all of that to make sure that proportionally people, different opinions are represented both at the legislature? I think we've been able to do that in the legislature. Let us escalate it to the executive level. That way, everybody is carried along. There's this sense of belonging. That was one thing that struck me when I reviewed this case between the APC and the PDP and a lot more others. So for me, congratulations to Monday Okpebholo, by the way. Aswa, if you are going to court, well, it's your choice to do that. But like I said, when elections are won and lost, Why don't we just let it be? Especially when we realize that on several occasions, it is very difficult, in Nigerian case, to overturn elections on very rare occasions. So what does that tell us? Otumba, maybe you can help us.
It tells us that we still have a lot of work to do. Yes, there's still a lot of work to do. Anyway, talking about work to do, well, it's time that we go into another aspect of the show, which is reading out stories from the cover pages. That's newspaper headlines. Now, we'll just go through the headlines now. Then at 10 o'clock, we'll go deeper into, the substance of those headlines. Now, come along with us. It promises to be an interesting ride. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll be looking at headlines from the papers. Join us again.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, let's take some newspaper headlines. I have before me here the Blueprint, The Nation, The Punch, and the Daily Trust, and a lot more. Let us start with The Nation newspaper. And, a lot of the newspapers are celebrating the president. Anyway, but there are some stories too. What president should do with the economy before 2027? And the writer here says, expert project diversification in 2 years. Away from that, Tinubu rescued rivers with emergency rules, says Fubara. I'll take that again for emphasis. Tinubu rescued rivers with emergency rules, says Fubara. I think I said that too. Moses, you recall I said that? Yes, maybe. Yes. That's what it is. And that's all from The Nation newspaper. There's I think it's a sponsored advert. They're celebrating 2 years of leadership and progress, by people that are happy with what the president has done in 2 years.
All right, so let's go to Nigeria News Direct now. The headlines here, the window headlines here. 2 years of President Tinubu, a business perspective. That's an editorial from Abdul Samad Rabiu. FCT ground rent dispute escalates as Wike Kingibe clash over legal grounds. And then the bold headline. FG issues new executive order to attract new investments, lower costs in upstream sector. Hashtag End Bad Governance movement declares nationwide protest, June 12. Shell acquires Total Energy's stake in Bonga oil field for $150 million. Delta State emerges winner of 22nd National Sports Festival. And those are the headlines on the cover page of Nigerian News Direct.
And up next is The Punch with the big story. Midterm review, APC fights back as Labour counters Tinubu's scorecard. Ruling party and Ribadu behind Tinubu's reforms. NLC, TUC, Amnesty decry worsening hardship, insecurity. Then there's another sponsored advert there by Tantita Security Services Nigeria Limited. Nigerians, you know who Tantita is. Well, he's congratulating the president on his midterm achievements. That's all from the Punch newspaper.
All right, then. And then to the Daily Times. 21 dead, dozens missing in deadly Niger flash flood. It's annoying that the figures, the number of dead is conflicting. You have one, one number here, a different number in another daily. Just goes to show how important we consider human life. Okay. Now, away from that, there's yes. Immigration nabs wanted ritual suspect fleeing Nigeria at Seme border. Isn't it this this herbalist, the one that it looks like the picture? We'll get into the one who was accused of burying people alive in his property. But we'll look at that headline, that story much later. And then some other headlines here. National Day. Okay. Tunji Ojo backs push for early voting rights for security, electoral workers. That's, I do believe, if government looks into that, that will be a good way to go. National Day of Mourning. CSOs slam government in action, say 6,500 killed in a year. Reps committee summons WAEC over exam irregularities. Appeal courts victory. Okwebolo counsels Igodalo to accept judgment. Tinubu's addiction to loans, mortgaging Nigeria's future. Atiku. And then we have Fubara recommits to peace, vows to rebuild rivers. It's the 6 months is almost running out, and my man wants to get back into office. So he's playing the politics of things.
Yes.
Oh well, those are the headlines there from the Daily Times.
Okay, and from the Daily Trust, we have Niger flood. Family loses 12 members. Over 50 Almajirai missing. And okay, that's all. That's all from the Daily Trust newspaper.
Okay. Well, have you taken first news?
No.
Okay, so from the first news, we have the bold headline there. It says, sorry in the dark. WAEC apologizes after forcing students to write English at midnight. Was it midnight, really? Or just night time?
Nighttime.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe some places wrote at midnight.
At midnight, okay. Power outages, unsafe conditions spark national outcry. Calls mount for exam retakes, accountability measures. All right. And then the window headlines. Enugu ritual killing suspect nabbed at Semeboda. Yes, that's the same person. That's the picture. Enugu ritual killing suspect nabbed at Semeboda. How did he get there? Okay. I thought he was arrested. Flood claims over 20 lives in Niger State, many missing. Atiku slams Tinubu's administration, government for the rich against the poor. Okay, government for the rich against the poor, he says. I take that one again. Atiku slams Tinubu's administration, government for the rich against the poor. Baby stolen from visually impaired mother, sold for 1.5 million naira, rescued in Imo, Haukalos. If not for Tinubu, rivers would have burned. Fubara speaks at last. All right. And then Tinubu at midterm. Big moves, big loans, bigger questions. Setback for FG as court dismisses exhibits in Kanu's trial. And the bottom strip there. Tinubu, our economic reforms are working. Okay. Well, those are pretty much the headlines that we have for you at the moment. Most of the other dailies are celebrating the president's second year in office. But we'll get into all of these headlines and everything else at 10 o'clock. In the meantime, let's get into the conversation proper. All right? It promises to be juicy. Oh, well. Hashtag End Bad Governance movement calls for June 12 protest. Condemns Tinubu's 2-year tenure. Come along with us as we dissect all of it. Join us again.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP this morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday.
We are the station that brings you stories from the people's perspective.
We'll let your voice be heard. On Political Lens, we'll bring you deeper insights into happenings within the polity.
We create equality of representative opinion and fairness in politics, economic and diverse conversations.
Here we bring you breaking news, fresh perspectives, as well as fact-based analysis.
Watch our extraordinary shows from the People's Voice, where we get to amplify the stories and concerns of everyday Nigerians through hashtags.
To Health Check, where we share practical wellness tips and bring you deep insights from medical professionals.
Maritime Frontiers will dissect issues on port operations and more. Every time we talk about sport, it's everything that has to do with sport, from the top to the finish,
Just be with us, stay with us all of the time. We give you sporting activities just as you unfold, and that's what we do, and that's why we are called Voice of the People TV. And you already know.
We got you all covered.
Here, you have more than a voice.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV, now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP This Morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday. Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV, now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Step into a world where stories unfolds, secrets unravel, and dreams come alive. Every story has a legacy. Every legacy holds the power to inspire. A unique interview series that celebrates the lives of Nigeria's elder statesmen and women through their remarkable journeys in the military, diplomacy, public service, academia, medicine, and beyond. Conversation that transcends generations, offering guidance to youth leaders, diplomats, technocrats, and future change makers. We unveil the wisdom, resilience, and achievements that shapes our nation and the world. Join us every Sunday on Voice of the People Television. Reminiscence, legacies that leads the way, stories that lives on.
We are the station that brings you stories from the people's perspective.
We let your voice be heard. On Political Lens, we bring you deeper insights into happenings within the polity.
We create equality of representative opinion and fairness in politics, economic and diverse conversations.
Here, we bring you breaking news, fresh perspectives, as well as fact-based analysis.
Watch our extraordinary shows from the People's Voice, where we get to amplify the stories and concerns of everyday Nigerians through hashtags.
To Health Check, where we share practical wellness tips and bring you deep insights from medical professionals.
Maritime Frontiers will dissect issues on port operations and more.
Every time we talk about sport, it's everything that has to do with sport from the top to the finish. Just be with us, stay with us all of the time. We give you sporting activities just as it unfolds, and that's what we do, and that's why we are called Voice of the People TV, and you already know.
We got you all covered.
Here, you have more than a voice.
Step into a world where stories unfolds, secrets unravel, and dreams come alive. Every story has a legacy. Every legacy holds the power to inspire. A unique interview series that celebrates the lives of Nigeria's elder statesmen and women through their remarkable journeys in the military, diplomacy, public service, academia, medicine, and beyond. Conversation that transcends generations, offering guidance to youth leaders, diplomats, technocrats, and future change makers. We unveil the wisdom, resilience, and achievements that shapes our nation and the world. Join us every Sunday on Voice of the People Television. Reminiscence, legacies that leads the way, stories that lives on.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOPTV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOPTV, Voice of the People Television.
Ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV, now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Thanks for staying with us. And if you are just joining us, this is This Morning on Voice of the People Television. The hashtag #EndBad's Governance movement has announced plans for a nationwide protest on June 12th, Nigeria's Democracy Day, to express widespread dissatisfaction with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. Well, in a statement released by the movement's Lagos State Organizing Committee, leaders Hassan Taiwo Soweto and Oloye Adeboyega Adeniji criticized the government's economic policies, labeling them as anti-poor and neoliberal reforms that have exacerbated poverty and economic hardship across the country. Well, they highlighted the removal of fuel subsidies and the devaluation of the naira as key factors contributing to the soaring cost of living, with petrol prices rising from 197 to between 800 naira and 900 naira per litre, and the naira depreciating to from 463 naira to nearly 1,600 per dollar. The movement also pointed to a significant increase in inflation, which climbed from 3% in April 2023 to 35% in December 2024, the highest in 3 decades. Oh, well, they reported that food prices have surged by over 80% and transport fares have escalated dramatically, with interstate travel costs increasing by 403.5%, airfares by 280.7%, and water transport fares by 148.8%. Furthermore, the group condemned the government's handling of security issues, noting a rise in kidnapping, banditry, and violence, as well as the suppression of civil liberties, including the harassment and arrest of activists, bloggers, and journalists. While the End Bad Governance movement urges Nigerians to participate in the June 12 protest to demand accountability and advocate for policies that prioritize the welfare of the masses. Well, we are joined in our Lagos studio here, where we are broadcasting from, by Mr. Dele Fanimo. Dele is a citizen reporter and VOP in-house analyst. Good morning, Dele, and thanks for coming to VOP this morning.
My pleasure.
Beside him, we have Barrister Asim Adams, a lawyer and social affairs commentator, who also joins us on the show. Good morning, Barrister Adams, and good to have you, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, we will be joined by analysts from our outstations in the course of the program. Barrister Asim, let me start with you. We are back to it again. #End Bad Governance movement, calling for protest, because according to them, the assessment of the midterm scorecard of the president clearly shows that Nigerians are poorer than they were in 2023. If you go back in time, in the past 8 years, I want us to limit it to 8 years, let's leave what happened before then. And okay, in the past 10 years, how much, have we used protest to tell the government that, look, we are dissatisfied with what they are doing? As a track, has it ever worked? And in this occasion, do you think it is going to work? And again, why on democracy there? Is it to pass a message, or is it to, what do you think about the End Bad Governance protest slated for June 12? Do you think it's going to succeed and all of it? Want your broad reaction to the issues surrounding the protest?
I think we have to react. It means an exercise in futility. When it's an exercise in futility, it's an exercise that is not going to yield anything. Rather, there may be loss of lives if it escalates more than expected. That has been the usual trajectory. So when you see Nigerians always come out, the first thing I ask the question: who the credibility of those people who are organizing this protest is what bothers me most times. You just wake up one morning and you look for opportunities to showcase one or two things and bring yourself into limelight, etc., as the case may be. And another one is going to come up on 1st of October. Nigerians are already protesting. We don't need to go to the streets for the government to know exactly that things are really bad or very, very low for the average Nigerian man.
Okay.
And we have seen this, that in the last 8 years, like you said, or 10 years, protest has not achieved anything. The End Bad Governance, SARS protest, that was the most visible of it all. And that was, you had a lot of carnage, you had a lot of mortalities. People were maimed, people were killed. Till today, we don't really know how many have been compensated.
Okay.
So, since today also, the end, SARS protest has even made the police or the security agencies more pronounced and more aggressive and very atavistic. You see, I say this from the field in the sense that I practice law and on the field of law practice.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of things happening. Nigerian police are more, security agencies, let me use the word, not just police, let me not single out the police institution. The security agencies in Nigeria are more ferocious.
But Barrister, I hate to butt in at this moment, because you have said quite interesting things. like it's an exercise in futility.
Yes.
Like the end SARS protest wasn't a success, despite the carnage. Barrister, after the SARS protest, the Nigerian government disbanded the SARS and replaced them with SWAT.
Yes.
Wasn't that an achievement? And when you say that it's an exercise in futility and that Nigerians are protesting, what other mode can Nigerians use to protest apart from? Is it just to speak? Because I heard someone say that, look, sometimes that violence could work. I'm not buying into that. That is his argument, you know. And if you go back in history, you discover that, look, on most occasions, this friction between the haves and the have-not, between the leaders and the led, it's always been settled through violence. In as much as I am not advocating that, why do you think that Nigerians pouring into the streets to protest is an exercise in futility?
No, I'm not saying that Nigerians pouring into the street is an exercise. I'm saying the so-called call by the organizers of this end, whatever they call it, bad governance protest, this particular body, for me, is going to be an exercise in futility because, one, the promoters or those who are behind it, what level of integrity, we want people, you know, that can come out. Let me give for an example. You know, in those days, if a Ghanaian family were to come out and say he's leading a protest, you see students and even old people will come out on the street because of the credibility Ghanaian family has, has as at that time. If you look at it, especially even Adams to Shomole, when Shomole was a labor leader at that time, if he comes out to say, we are joining hands with Wole Soyinka, Gani, it is to come and do it. People, came out. I remember the Jonathan era. You see what happened that time? Was it Save Nigerian Group, as they used to call them? You saw what they did. People came out because of the credibility of the promoters of that particular whatever. But in this instance, I don't know. If you ask me who are the promoters of this, I don't really know. They have chosen that whatever as case may be. And we ought to know all these things, yes.
The promoters are known. One of them is former presidential aspirant, Omoyele Sowore. He's one of the promoters of this particular move. Now, let me bring this conversation to Mr. Fanimo now. You said something just before we started, and I would like us to pick it up from there. You said a lot of these organizers make a lot of money from protests. Could you expatiate on that? Do you think it's a money-making venture for those calling for the protest at the detriment of those that will, carry the placards and join them on the streets?
You see, I'm not particular about this instance because I don't know how they came about this protest, how they organized it. But I've seen protests in the past.
No, it's just been announced. It's been called for. They haven't...
that's what I'm saying. I'm not privy to the internal workings of this one. But I've seen protests in the past. I've been in the trenches for close to about 15 years, following protesters, we're having meetings with them at the dead of night and all that. So I know some of these activists, they use their organization as NGOs to source grants from abroad. What killed CLO, headed by Olusegun at that time? It was money. What made Chima Ubani to split from CD? It was money. And even when Labour were protesting at that time, I know how money went through certain process. So what we are saying is, I'm not saying about it because I don't know.
Yes.
If I know, you rely on history.
Is it safe? Is it safe then to say that some of these people that call for a protest just want to draw attention to themselves and enrich themselves at the detriment of the people?
Now, let me tell you one instance that is very clear here. During the Abacha 1 million march, I think at the convocation ceremony of UI that time, they invited Nelson Mandela to come and grace the occasion. I was a reporter then. I was in UI. before the arrival of Nelson Mandela. And what happened that day was, Adesokola was coming in his convoy with his limousine, Mercedes-Benz. They thought it was Mandela. And they were hailing him until he came down from the vehicle. They started stoning him. The bonds, even the limousine. It was that day that I knew that the crest of that Benz was pure gold. Somebody removed it and took it away. Now they had to disguise Adesokola in a woman's robe to take him out of UI. But do you know that the same student union leaders that pelted him, burnt his car, by 9 p.m. that same night were there to dissociate from it.
Why?
Because they wanted to come and collect money.
Okay.
And eventually they were given money. Okay. And the following day, they came to Governor Usman to say, we don't know anything about it. So we are solidly behind Abacha.
So basically,
the same people.
It buttresses the point that they draw attention,
yes,
they get paid, and they go back. Okay. Now, Barrister, now we know that we've had End Bad Governance protest last year. We had Fearless October. The courts. Well, I would like for you to, tell us the role of the court in all of this, how that has affected the will of the people, because we know the court came out with some judgments restricting people to certain places. Is that the right thing to do and all of that? But I'd like you to, merge that with the nuisance value. Do you think government is not paying attention to people because they don't see people having the nuisance value?
You see, if I got your question very well, I think you were asking about the role of the judiciary or the courts in issues of human rights. I don't know again. Come around. Well, I believe what is there is that a good example I wanted to give was the last time there was this, is it Fearless October they call it, that was last year, and some other, protests that took place before then. Some people were arrested. Some of them were later, I think they were later discharged by the courts through the presidential pardon or whatever the case may be. But there are some of them, the people who they felt had cases to answer, that particular pardon or amnesty did not, get to. What has happened to them? The organizers of the last protest, for instance, have they given us, or can they give us information on where these people are and if, or what they are doing?
I think I should be asking you that because the organizers said they had lawyers that will back up these people.
That is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The reason why I'm saying this is because of the fact that I remember last year we participated in some of these things somewhere. But at the end of the day, many of the lawyers who were representing those people had to pull out.
When you say we participated,
yes,
you mean you defended some of these
people? Of course, that is it.
Okay.
You understand?
And then
they had to pull out.
Why?
The reason is because of the fact that, let me tell you something, it takes a lawyer with, passionate conscience and patriotism to do matters of pro bono. That's number one. Okay. Number two is this. You find that the moment you begin to want to go and go for these people, the security agencies begin to profile you. I saw some of my colleagues who were profiled by the security agencies. That is, in the sense that they felt that, okay, maybe this guy is working with these people underground. And he's the one encouraging them to do whatever the case may be. And some lawyers were now invited, to come and clarify situations as the case may be. There's a particular, department. They call it counter-terrorism.
Okay.
You understand the point? Counter-terrorism unit. People don't hear about them. You understand? But they go after matters of this nature.
Why?
Because they can color your protests your demand of this nature as terrorism. You understand the point now?
Okay, so they go after the lawyers that defend.
That is it. I'm telling you. There was a
way
time
of intimidating people.
It's a way of intimidating people, and there was a matter we were handling, and I wouldn't want to call the agency. They came to the office through the address of your processes you filed in court, and they said, "Why are you going for these people? Why you didn't know what they have done? Etc. As the case may be." Then if you are not very careful and you have maybe your wife and your family there, they tell you, say, "Look, oh boy, they have come," which means they are monitoring you. So it's very difficult. It's a difficult field.
Is it then okay to conclude that this government, using the cover of terrorism, using the cover of wanting to topple the administration, is trying to cow the people, cage the people into not speaking up against what they perceive to be injustice? Is it safe to conclude that?
That is what I perceive. That is what we feel. And that is why you find that high-profile matters of this nature, lawyers run away from it. One is that you are not going to get paid because it's more or less going to be on pro bono. And if you are not very careful, like I explained, you might get into problems.
Okay, all right.
There might be one or two profiling of yourself and etc.
All right.
Nobody wants to take that kind of risk.
Now, let's go to Edo, Benin City in particular, where we have Comrade Roy Oriabo standing by. Comrade Roy is a public affairs analyst as well as human rights activist. He's also former local government council chairman of one of the local governments in Benin City. Good morning to you, Comrade Roy, and thanks for coming to VOP this morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Okay, then, very well.
Let me quickly. That your introduction is not true. I have never been a local government chairman. I've been in the struggle since I was born.
Okay, all right, very well noted. Very well noted. Now, Comrade Roy, we are discussing June 12th, and organizers of the End Bad Governance movement are calling out Nigerians to come participate, in a protest to send back messages to the government that, look, all is not well with Nigerians in terms of standard of living. The president just celebrated his midterm scorecard, and the president said, look, this administration has done very well by removing fuel subsidy. There might be some little distress for the people, but apparently we are in the right direction. And these people are saying, no, Mr. President. They cited inflation, insecurity, fall in disposable income and all of that. Comrade Roy, where do you belong to here? Do you think that Nigerians should pour into the streets to protest, or do you think that the government has done well? What's your take on this issue?
In Edo State, Yossi is a critical stakeholder in the civil movement. Therefore, you definitely I will openly endorse this protest. I have listened to your guests here. They are trying making effort to discourage people not to come out. Any shenanigans can be employed by government, to diffuse the tension. But one thing that is very unique is that those who are even in the studio with you, who are trying to discourage people, they recognize that there is hunger in the land. And the president, after two years analysis and evaluation of his performance, he recognized that this is not where we are supposed to be. He recognized there is poverty in the land. He recognized there is deprivation in the land. Are you not saying that those who are hungry should not cry? Are you not saying that those who are not sure of tomorrow, what they will eat this evening, they should not be bothered?
Okay, Comrade Roy, I hate to butt in at this moment. I like the fact that you said that the president himself recognizes the fact that there is hunger in the land. And is asking Nigerians, a little more patience, please. Let's make more sacrifices. So if the president has acknowledged that there is hunger in the land, that is all is not well, but Nigeria is work in progress, what then is the need to pour into the streets to say, look, Mr. President, is it not going to be a dialogue of the deaf? Because the president clearly acknowledges that, look, all is not well. So is there any need for the protest again?
It's a reminiscence of your baby who have not eaten yet. And in the middle of the night, the baby is crying. And you are saying, baby, you are not understanding. How will the baby understand you? What the baby need at that material time? He need food. If the food is not available, the baby will cry. In this position, we the commoners of this, we are the baby here.
Okay.
Yeah, the president, just the position of authorities are the parents.
All right.
Therefore, we must continue to reinforce our positions.
All right. Okay.
We are hungry.
Okay. Absolutely.
And then-
Absolutely. There's hunger in the land, and well, the president in his May 29th speech spoke about how food prices are coming down, bag of rice coming down, and a few other things. You might disagree, but market prices tell that some of these things are coming down. Now, you alluded to the fact that some people are trying to discourage people from going out, but how has protest helped in recent time? I'm talking 2024 up until today. How has protest helped? What has it helped in achieving? And you are a comrade. You've been in the struggle since you were born, you say. In all of it, in all the protests that we've had so far, especially the End Bad Governance protest of 2024, the Fearless October protest, also of 2024, where some people were, arrested and said to be wanting to topple the government. What did your organization do? I mean, you're a comrade. How have you helped to ensure that those voices that were going to be silenced were, re-echoed, their words re-echoed, and their struggle brought to the fore continually, even while they were in detention?
Of course, I will be limiting my discussion to Edo State where.
Oh no, but we would like for you to look at the broader spectrum of Nigeria because it affects a whole lot of other people.
Of course, within us, none of the members who came out of protest was abandoned when he was arrested.
In Edo State.
We took it upon ourselves to make sure that justice is not. We demand for it, and we were able to. We got it.
Okay.
Those who made themselves available for all the lawyers who acted on us of pro bono, these are genuine people. But when I start hearing a lawyer telling you that he will be profiled,
comrade,
people like Khalifa with me in this country,
comrade, let me,
why is kind of profile?
Comrade, as a man who's been in the struggle, are protests, are they not sponsored? Are they not? Don't people provide money for some of these things?
Hello?
Yes, comrade, I can hear you. I just want you to respond before I go on.
I have participated in many protests. There is no major protest have happened that the sincerely have not been in the street.
Okay.
I will tell you how we organize protests. Organizations came together to form the civil society organization in Edo State. We have units. We pay our dues. From there, we sponsor protests. Protests are being sponsored because there are notices. At times you see us with a DJ. We will need to take water. We need all these things. People make their contribution, volunteer. These are members of the movement who believe that Nigeria needs to be better than this. There are no foreign sponsors to all these things.
Okay.
You talk about the same Nigeria group. You see how prominent it was as are there. Because of the personalities who were involved.
Now the question I wanted to, the question I was driving at is, if you contribute to a pause or a cause, as the case may be, and monies are taken to probably pay the DJ, as the DJ paid, or pay or buy water and snack for those that come out to protest, don't you think they should have monies for the lawyers that will defend cases at the end of the day?
Of course, there are lawyers who are also members of the civil society movement. I am also a professional. I am a sociologist by training. Therefore, everybody, you are going to bring your professionalism to bear in the struggle. I am also a farmer. If they need food, I should be able to provide it. As a lawyer, you are a member of an organization. Will you not also contribute? We have members who are doctors. In case of emergency, they also Some of our members are nurses. They also provide their medical logistics. Therefore, it's not limited to any particular market. Women are there. The farmers are there. The truck drivers, the truck drivers are there. The wheelbarrow pushers are there. The bike riders are there. Whichever service is required at that material time, they provide it. And that is why we say, as I told you, if you allow me to mention names in a dossier, I can mention some lawyers, very prominent lawyers who are members of the
organization,
civil society movement.
Indeed. Now,
therefore, they provide services for us.
Okay, we've also tried to establish something, the issue of credible leadership when it comes to organization of protest, who the people will follow. It's been said that a lot of people now don't have that clout to encourage people to want to follow them into the battlefront. How do we address that? And please, it will be nice, since you say your organization have branches all over, I'm sure you're privy to some other information that goes outside Edo State. So it would be nice to give us reaction to how some of these things have been done outside Edo State, because we're looking at Nigeria.
We are looking at Nigeria, and the issues are very direct. There is no need for, once as an organization, you subscribe to the civil society coalition, you have a responsibility to also make your contribution. It's not a road traffic. You are bringing, this is bringing, that is bringing from there.
No. A question. I don't think you got the question. The question is, we seem to have a deficit of trust here, where people don't trust who they want to, who is leading them into a protest, because it seems some people that lead have their own ulterior motive. So how can we correct that? How can we, reignite, the zeal in people to want to protest and follow people that they know are credible? Because it's been said that some of these people that call people out have their motive, they get paid, and when they get them, the monies they want, they abandon the people. How do we correct that?
I think in this system, when we find out what Nigerians are today, Nigeria is a corrupt nation. Therefore, if you have that mindset that people will be paid, or people are being serviced, integrity deficiency is an issue. If you record the same Nigeria group, those who participated there, who were very prominent, so some of them, we later discovered that they are now in politics. They formed the aggregation of the APC, and they are there. When you look at those their trend, you will be discouraged to want to even join a protest. And that's the reason why most Nigerians are finding it difficult to say, for how long shall we continue to be on the street? Those who fought against the removal of subsidy, they came and implemented it, and as of today, there is hunger in the land. People have every reason to be discouraged not to come out.
Okay.
But if you see those who are genuine and sincere, who are out on the street protesting, you should appreciate them. You should salute their courage. It is not easy to rise up in a corrupt environment.
Okay.
To start to have a stand in a corrupt environment. Where our mentality orientation is bad. You should understand my position.
All right. Well, yes, I quite understand your position. But as we go around taking concluding thoughts before we get into another conversation now, just a quick one. Would you take a political appointment if given? Now.
I am a follower of a man called Lee Kuan Yew. Lee Kuan Yew told us that you cannot continue to be opposing government as if you don't have an idea on how to fix the problem. There is something wrong. I'm working myself. I want to be a governor of a state.
Okay.
If you give me an appointment and I don't have the capacity, I should be able to come with what I've gathered over the years.
Amazing. So when they follow you to the streets tomorrow, when they follow you to the streets on June 12th,
if our grandfather with me was contested for president of this country, does that mean if he was elected, he will not take it?
Amazing. So basically, what you're saying now is, if people follow you to the streets, there is a possibility that if you are called aside and given an appointment, you will abandon the people and do what your
that is not what I'm saying. That is not what I'm saying. I'm telling you now that I have an idea on how society supposed to work, the formation of a society. I have an idea. The government say, come and implement this your idea so that your people will. What is wrong with that?
Okay.
Those are the points you need to get. It's not about me. If it's said by me, will I be here today? Do I need to be on protest to get government? If I announce I'm the copy to any party, will you arrest me? I'm not the copy.
Of course not.
I can be on the street. I've been on the street. You should salute me.
Yes, and we do salute you.
You should salute me for
We
that.
do salute you. Yes, we do.
All right. Thank you
very much.
Don't refuse it that we are looking for the point. Somebody will be saying somewhere and saying somebody came to collect money. You are trying to discredit those who are on a genuine mission. When the president and the presidency have recognized there is hunger in the land, you are saying people, what is their integrity? Gani follow me. When he started gradually. Before he get to where most of the job he was doing for the activists was highly improbable. He was not bothered about profile.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's have Barrister.
See, let me tell you. Let me quickly say this. I don't know him. I've seen him for the first time, but I want to. This is the problem we're having in a country called Nigeria. The problem is there's what we call mono casualty. A lot of people believe that, a problem is this, and the only way to solve it is just one way. And that is the problem we are having. Now, we are not discouraging anybody from participating in protests. Protest is a right. If you want to participate, you have the right to go out there. I also have the right to say, I'm not interested in your protest. I have been protesting from morning till night, and I want to protest for 365 days of the year until things are better. In Tunisia, the labor movement or any civil society never came out to call people to come and protest. Something ignited it and exacerbated or maybe brought it to fall, and the whole country came into a revolution and convulsion. But when you talk about organized protests, from revolutions I've seen, most revolutions I've seen or read about were not even organized. They were spontaneous. Only when it came up, leaders now came up and maybe like they use the word hijack it for their own particular purpose. The moment you begin to do organized protest etc., the government you are protesting against will not sit back and begin to watch you do whatever you want to do.
All right.
So it's even better for you not to say, when we have a spontaneous whatever, then we cannot move. Then let me go to the final issue that he raised here. You see, the question we have asked is this, I don't know, he's not in Lagos. I would have asked him to visit me in my office, or you can still share my number with him. I have names of people we are defending. I will not, for reasons for public television, begin to call their names here. But a very good example I want to give is this. There was a lady who participated in the NSAS protests that was later released, that gave birth in the prison. You remember that? I don't know if you know the story.
Yes, yes.
You know how many years she spent after the NSAS, whatever? Do you understand the point? You know how many years she spent at the Akure prison, at case may be? Organizers of that protest never thought about her until a particular group picked interest in her and had to go to that place and do what? Get her out. Another example is this. There was a young boy who, during when P2B was campaigning, who came out, I don't know his name, but you remember what happened? It was a conscious effort of another lawyer independently, not acting as a group, under a group, that had to go to the prisons here to go and, secure his release. We have many of them littered across the custodial, contraptions in Nigeria here today. Right. So we are talking reality.
All right, Barrister.
We know that there's hunger.
Okay.
But what we are saying is that I am not saying you should not go out to go and protest. But what we're saying is this. We do not want casualties because it's a government that is there
for recommend as against the protest.
There are so many other ways. There are so many things that we can recommend. Number one is this, for instance. I have protested situations where I say, you tell me you are selling your fuel for naira 80 naira, I'll walk away. I have not used my car for some period of time. My people know that. I have not gone to the filling station, so I'm going to fuel my car to go. I don't do that. I
So
don't.
but
I use the buses. That is
you use public transport.
It's public transport I use.
You pay higher than you used to pay.
That is
before.
what I'm saying. That is what what I decided to do as a form of protest. So they know me.
But
so
you,
now,
you as an individual won't make that much impact. So should we
That is
organize people together to say, okay, we will not eat this person's food,
you
or we will not go to this place? Do you
there
think
was a time where there was this issue between the northern part of Nigeria and the southern part of. So people say avoid eating beef, avoid eating whatever as case may be, avoid using Cameroonian pepper. Don't go to them to go and get their things to do, as the case may be. So there are so many other ways that we can tackle this whole issue than coming out to protest. Because the government you protest against is a deaf government. I don't know what to hear by June 12th that about 10 people lost their lives.
So Nigeria should
and they just go like that.
So Nigeria should accept their fate.
You see, P2OB is protesting. It's not violent. P2OB, I'm coming. P2OB is protesting. He has not come out with a crowd to say on June 12th, I'm going to do this. But on a daily basis, it's on radio. It's on radio and they pay attention to it. I think he's protesting.
All right then, thank you very,
You
very much,
understand?
Barrister
So these are the
Asim
things.
Adams. Mr. Fanimo, let's have your concluding thoughts.
Well, for me, like Barrister Asim said, no Nigerian blood is worth all this agitation. There are other ways of protesting and your voice could still be heard. That's one for me. Then the other one is that I'm surprised that the comrade there was trying to defend the position of comrades, that they don't get sponsorship and money, even outside the country. I've seen it happen, and I have witnesses who were there when those things were happening. Do you know that at the height of NSC protest in Lagos here, those days, they were giving 40,000 naira each to area boys to make the whole place ungovernable. So where is that money coming from? Yes. I have a colleague here that we were together covering Labour then. So I know all these things. They can come out to come and tell me that.
Sorry, who was giving who?
NSC was giving area boys.
Okay, to come and
make trouble so that the protest will be okay.
Okay.
Well,
so the project will be hijacked.
You know that at that time, military was also around.
Okay.
That's right.
So it was a kind of, we have to do some level of show of force. That's why till today, if no paying, and then
sorry, I want to get something. NLC was paying area boys to come and support the project.
Of course, to support the project.
Okay, to give it a larger than life.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, if any protest, any national strike in Nigeria today, if it is not backed by NURTW and NOPENG, it's not going anywhere.
All right then. Okay, well, let's. I think we should give Comrade 1 more minute to react, and then we'll. Comrade, are you still with us? All right, so you have one minute, please, and then we'll wrap this up. Your concluding thoughts.
Once again, our position, my position, we are not calling for violent protests. You know, it's just to showcase that there's hunger in the land. If Nigerian Labour Congress are paying, Nigerian Labour Congress is organized, they are paying their dues, they have the volume of money within their disposal is large.
All right, you're 1 minute.
That's the reason after being a chairman, you will go back and contest a governor,
all right,
and
then.
you become a governor.
All right, then. Thank you very much. That's
Thank you for having me.
1 minute. Now, let's get into another conversation. Court to rule on evidence in Nnamdi Kanu's trial as police heighten security ahead of Biafra Day. Today, May 30th, is Biafra Day. Some have termed it Igbo Day. Oh, well. On what side of the fence do you sit? Let's talk about this when we come back. Well, a high court in Abuja is set to determine the admissibility of key evidence presented by the Nigerian government in the ongoing trial of Nnamdi Kanu, a leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. The court's decision, expected soon, will significantly impact the trajectory of the case. which has drawn a national and international attention. While Kanu faces charges related to treasonable felony and terrorism stemming from his advocacy for Biafra's secession. In anticipation of potential unrest during the May 30th Biafra Day commemorations, the Anambra State Police Command has intensified security measures across the state. According to a statement by the command's public relations officer, SP Tochukwu Ikenga, strategic deployments have been made in areas identified as potential flashpoints, including Oka, Onitsha, Newi, Ihiala, and Oraifite. The police, in collaboration with other security agencies such as the DSS, NSCDC, FRSC, Army, and the Navy, have increased patrols and taken control of strategic locations to deter criminal activities and ensure public safety. While schools in various parts of Anambra have declared Friday a lecture-free day as a precautionary measure following reports of intimidation from separatists and sympathizers as well. Well, the police have also released hotlines for residents to report any suspicious activities, emphasizing the importance of public cooperation in maintaining peace and security. Well, I also understand that there is an examination taking place today. I think WAEC, one of the WAEC examination is taking place today. I wonder how they will be able to do that. Well, we still have with us Barrister Asim Adams. We have Daily Fanimo, who is a seasoned reporter, and virtually Comrade Roy Oriabo. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for staying with us on this one. So, let me start off with you now, Mr. Fanimo. The day has come, the much anticipated, much waited for today. May 30, it has arrived. Biafra Day, it is in the southeast of Nigeria. Some have said government should recognize the day. Now, there is a seat at home that has been declared in commemoration of the fallen heroes of Biafra. And that, of course, will affect those that have other activities, like students, for example, that have exams to write. And of course, the possible judgment from the court where Nnamdi Kanu is being tried. Is it a coincidence that, there is a possibility that judgment might be given today?
I don't think what that report indicated was that there's going to be a judgment today.
Okay.
What they are saying is the admissibility or otherwise of evidence brought by the federal government against the defendant.
No, that's a judgment because it's not a trial within the trial. Not judgment on the case itself, but on the admissibility, yes.
Okay.
So it's not the judgment of the case. It's just admitting it or not.
Okay.
So it's not going to really make much impact, except that if
the choosing today to do that, is there a significant?
No, I don't think.
Nothing.
Okay. I don't think it has any relevance as much as I want to believe. But the direction, just like the report indicated, the direction of the case is likely to be determined by the admissibility of those evidence.
Now let's look at
then on the Biafra Day.
Yes, the Biafra Day itself.
I would prefer IPOB would surprise federal government today by ensuring that there is no violence in the southeast.
Is it IPOB that perpetuates the violence?
Of course, they are the face. They are the face of Biafra as it is today. It's no longer MASOP, it's IPOB that is the face. And whatever happens they will have to explain why it happened.
No, but IPOB has clearly been saying we are not the people ones behind the violence in the southeast.
No, what I'm saying is that IPOB is the face of agitation for the independent state of Biafra.
Okay.
Just like OPC and Odua are the forefront of agitation for Odua Republic here. So what we are saying is I would prefer that everything is done to ensure that there is peace today, and just make it a reference point that, yes, we're agitating, but we are not for violence, and let things go the way it should go today, and then push out the narratives to the media. But we are still continuing with our agitation, just like I said on radio about 3 days ago, that the fact that Tinubu is the president of this country has not reduced our agitation for Dua Republic.
Okay. Barrister, what would the agitators do now in conjunction, and I want to bring the governors into it, because some of the governors are trying to, as some would say, water down the essence of the day by calling it Igbo Day. But what will the agitators do in conjunction with the governors to ensure that the federal government recognizes the Afro Day and probably makes it a national day to be commemorated nationwide?
Well, before I answer that, let me just make these clarifications on the issue of the exhibits or whatever, the trial of Nnamdi Kanu. Now, what happened was that there's what we call trial within trial. Now, when you have the court, when the defense had to move a motion that the court should, do what they call trial within trial, is that the defense is talking about that the statements that were extracted from Nnamdi Kanu or their client was not proper. The confessional statements, for instance, didn't follow due process. That the particular suspect or defendant was forced, was coerced
under
duress to make such confessional statements. So you apply to court to now verify, like profile that particular statement again and find out whether truly all the, the conditions of a proper confessional statements were followed by the security agencies. So that is what they want to do. And the court will look at that particular trial within trial and rule on it. The court can say, well, from the evidences before them, the confessional statement was not proper. It was extracted under duress and, throw away or discountenance that particular, confessional statement. Or they can also admit it that it was in order, the ingredients needed for a true confessional statement was in order. The court can also admit that in evidence, as the case may be. So that is on the one hand. The second one is this. I have advocated that if you are struggling or you want to struggle to get independence for a particular region of the country, you must have to do a kind of internal referendum, not the one given by the government. Internal referendum in the sense that prominent people in your area, opinion molders in your area, the youth organizations in your area should support your move openly, as the case may be, etc. What should be done, in my own opinion, is that we have senators representing people from the Southeast. We have reps members representing people from the Southeast. We have House of Assembly members representing people from constituencies in those areas. We have businessmen, we have opinion molders, we have activists from that particular region. These particular people can form an amalgam and tell the government, look, we are going to monitor whatever is going to happen on this Biafra Day or Igbo Day or any day as you term it. Let it be like a cultural day for us or a Thanksgiving day. It's not a day for us to begin to make problems. It's not a day that there will be violence as been anticipated, that you have to, unleash the security agencies on the people. That we want to see how we can, organize this particular day every May 30th of every year. And the houses of assemblies in the eastern region, let me use the word, the southeastern region, can also take a step further if they agree or subscribe to this particular Biafra Day or Igbo Day, as case may be, enact or pass, bills that will now later become laws in their various houses for assembly. Once they're able to do that and the government has sent to it, then the government will now make it a day that is pronounced.
But Barrister Asim, if you understand Nigerian history very well, which I know you do, Nigerian politics, do you think that the Nigerian state, not talking about the federal government now, in the state, will accede to the fact that based on its disposition towards the struggle for self-determination, agitation by the Southeasterners for a sovereign state of Biafra, do you think that a bill trying to promote a Biafra Day in the National Assembly will sell through?
That is
because of the numbers.
That is what I'm saying, that, see, you have to subscribe. You do a local referendum that when many Southeasterners participate, senators, House of Representatives members, of Assembly members, businessmen, youths, and some other activists from the Southeast, and I say, look, this is a day that we are setting aside. It's not a day, forget about the name, whether it's Biafra Day or whatever. We can call it any name. It can be Igbo Day, Igbo Cultural Day, as the case may be. Now, if you do that, you find that people will begin to subscribe to that particular movement. But right now, what the problem we're having is this. People, when you talk about Igbo Day or maybe that 30th celebration of that 30th, whatever, people ascribe it to IPOB. That it is IPOB that is organizing, Biafra, whatever. And the next thing that comes to your mind is that there's going to be sit at home. The next thing that comes to mind is that...
Barrister, I get your drift. Yes. Unfortunately, the 30th May celebration existed long before the formation of IPOB. Before we go to Benin City to take comments, reaction from Comrade Roy Riabo, I would like for you, in your own opinion, what should it be called? Should it be Igbo Day or Biafra Day? Putting the history behind it into context.
Now, what happens is this. That day, like you rightly said, has been in existence. That particular May 30th is not, it was not called, it was called, there's a name they normally call it.
No, it's always
Biafra Day. Biafra Day. To celebrate heroes of the Civil War and whatever heroes of people from the Southeast. But you find out that the reason now, I don't know why it has transmogrified from that Biafra Day to now begin to say that it's IPOB that's organizing all these things. So the problem the government is having, I believe, in this particular instance is that the normal security man will tell that the reason why they are mobilizing policemen now to that southeastern part or anywhere you have people around is because that IPOB has been proscribed. You understand the point now? That if they are participating in that particular Biafra Day or any other name that you call it, there might be violence. And the posture and posturing of the people who are behind, issuing, that particular day, calling out people to come and celebrate.
All right, Barrister. Like Mr. Fanimo here said, IPOB has become the face of the struggle, and that is what it is. But IPOB has also clearly distanced itself from the violence associated with the struggle. Now, Comrade Roy Oriabo, you have followed this conversation. Can we get you is there anything wrong with people saying, look, we want to have a particular day to remember the people we lost during a war, and what's your reaction to that?
To me, there's nothing wrong, nothing wrong about that. It's very unfortunate that the constitutional leadership in the Igbo now have not been able to take responsibility. That's the reason why we are seeing what we are seeing. Because whether you like it or the IPO, in terms of their pronunciation and disposition, when they say it, it comes to pass. I was told that the sit at home they inaugurated is quite, as we are talking now, they are implementing it against the constitutional authority. As we are talking now, there is no federal high court that can sit in the Igbo now. They now sit via Zoom. That will tell you how far they have degenerated to. The leadership, the senator, as I mentioned, the governors, they cannot take responsibility. The senators are not taking responsibility. The local government chairman are not told them. It's the IPOD that is now announcing that we want to celebrate Igbo Day. It's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. There is something else celebrating your day. We saw the just celebrating their day. We saw the Yoruba, the Oduduwa celebrating their day. We have seen the Ogoni celebrating their day. I have the family call Oriwabo. On the 30th of December, we celebrate the man called Oriwabo because we believe it's a great one. Huh? How come the leaders, the constituted authority, the Igbo now, have not been able to take the responsibility upon themselves to say, let's define ourselves as a people? What does it take for them to gather and reach out to the president and say, Uda Kalu is our son? We know you have earned. Look for a political solution. They are all busy looking for what they can get from the system to undermine their people.
Okay.
That is where we are. And we have to be bothered by our state and about our country.
All right then.
Because if the governors were driving this process, the senators were driving this process, it will not be like this. We have seen people celebrating their days.
All right then.
In this country. Huh? And the people go there, journalists will go and cover it, and it will not be violent. They showcase their culture, their rich cultural heritage. Food.
All right, but this is a different issue. But thanks for your thoughts now. Thanks for your contribution. Let's quickly delve into another conversation, gentlemen. We'd like you all to stay with us. A new report by Amnesty International has revealed that over 10,217 Nigerians have been killed by gunmen, bandits, and other armed groups since President Bola Tinubu assumed office in May 2023. The report highlights that states like Benue, Plateau, Zamfara, and Kaduna states have remained the hardest hit, with widespread displacement, destruction of communities, and lack of government protection worsening the humanitarian crisis. Amnesty blames government inaction and systemic failure for the continued killings, urging government reforms in security response and justice system. Meanwhile, the People's Redemption Party, PRP, has strongly criticized the Tinubu'S administration over refreshed foreign loan requests, accusing top officials of embezzling previously secured funds. The party questioned the credibility of the government's financial management, warning that Nigeria's rising debt profile is being fueled by corruption rather than genuine development needs. The PRP called on the National Assembly to reject the new loan request, describing it as a burden on future generations without any visible benefits to the ordinary Nigerians. But let's zero in on the insecurity that is being faced now in Nigeria. We still have with us the gentleman, of course. I'll quickly come to Barrister Asim Adams on this one. Let's look at some of these things from the judicial angle. Now, the killings taking place in some parts of Nigeria, under the Nigerian law, and I emphasize that, what obligations does the president have in protecting the citizens during times of internal conflict or terrorism? And does the scale of these killings rise to the level of human rights violations or even crimes against humanity?
Yes, first of all, the president, a lot of people think that security is just the presidency alone that should be held responsible. No. Even your local government chairman, even the local governments where all these killings take place, there are people in government there. The governor of that state also has to be held responsible. So you have the president to be held responsible, the governor to be held responsible, local government chairman to be held responsible. By virtue of section 14 sub 2b, the constitution says that the security and welfare of the Nigerian people is the reason why you are in government. So if you are a president or you are a governor or you're a local government chairman and you campaign for election and they are slaughtering your people in your backyard, you cannot do anything about it. It means that you have failed or you have abdicated your responsibility. So there is a responsibility and duty imposed. It's an obligation imposed on these people or these offices I've mentioned, occupiers of this office I've mentioned. I find it sickening and repulsive, when I see governors running to Abuja to go and say people or terrorists have ravaged my state. and you are doing nothing about it in the first instance. You have not called the local government chairman in your state to question and see how you can arrange your security organogram and let the federal government come. It's a three-tier affair. So don't think it's only the presidency that should be responsible for that. That is number one. The second one is this. I have said that Amnesty International, they are doing their best. There's going to be about killings. But I want to say that hunger has killed more Nigerians, than the particular figures that is being turned out. In essence, what I'm trying to say is that I believe that more Nigerians have died, in this particular periscope, period
than in insecurity.
Than what has been given out.
All right.
Even this security, more than 10,000 Nigerians, may have died.
Okay, but Barrister Adams, we are questioning him. We are running out of time.
Yes, okay.
What do you think that the local government chairman can do to ward off terrorists in his local government area, in his council?
You can set up intelligence agencies or whatever as case may be, because terrorists, first of all, occupy the cities, the town or villages in your local government before they go to the state and expand.
Wouldn't it be duplication of duty? Because the DSS, which is the Internal Security Agency of the country, has officers in all the local government areas, of the country.
Are you aware that local government chairmen even get security votes as the case may be? What are they doing with the money and why is it budgeted for them? Local government chairmen get security votes just like governors get security votes. Now, if you are doing nothing about it, why are you taking the money? The essence and the reason why that security vote was given to you is for you to do things of this nature. Now, if you have an intelligence unit that is somewhere, let me give for example in Edo State. That is why you see, I am not supporting the killings of the Fulani or those people that were slaughtered in that episode. What I'm saying is this. You find that the local community felt disturbed and now said they have to protect their community. And they have to organize hunters, etc., to comb the forest and even mount the roads, as the case may be.
But, okay.
These local particular vigilantes were able to spot out, without federal government intervention, without police intervention, they were able to spot out those trailers. That those trailers, in spite of that they were carrying people, they had guns embedded in their bellies.
You know the bedlam that followed?
It's because of the fact that the moment we demonize a particular thing, then the rest of us will just follow suit.
All right.
We don't want to modernize it. I'm just trying to give credit to them. That is how it should be.
Conversation. Dele, you have reported extensively. You know the North very well. Like you've been to Maiduguri and some of the troublous parts of this country. I don't want us to keep talking about the intentionality, the sincerity or insincerity of the government, because looks like Nigerians also understand, where the pendulum swings. Dele, let me ask you, how soon do you think that we can get done with the issue of insecurity in this country? At the rate that we are going.
At the rate we are going, except something miraculously snaps. But given all the indices on ground, it appears to me that insecurity has come to be part of our daily life, and it's not likely to end soon. It's so bad and it's so grim, but the reality is, if you look at the last 15 years, you see that it started gradually and is escalating. At a point, it will come down a bit. At some point, it will resurge, and we have been living with it. And there's no intentionality on the part of state actors to nip it in the bud. And as long as we have it, and people are still profiteering from insecurity, it's not going to leave us.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. We'll come back to you for your concluding thoughts. Now, Comrade Roy Oriabo, you followed the conversation. 10,000 plus killed in just 2 years of Bola Tinubu administration. What's your reaction? And what is the state of insecurity, the state of security in your state? I understand, since after the killing of the Uromi 16, what has become the security situation in your state? Is there a piece of the graveyard, or is there actual peace in Edo State? Can you quickly walk us through all of that as fast as you can in like 2 minutes? And we'd also like for you to put together that with your concluding report. Sorry, your concluding thoughts
I think
on the topics we talked about
the
today.
issue, I am not even comfortable with the data released by the Amnesty International. They are trying to be economical with the data. Because with what we have seen and with what we have heard, you will know that insecurity in Nigeria is now a business. There is no sincerity of those who are managing it because they believe in what they can take home. And that is what bothers me about the whole system. Because no matter what you are saying, local government chairman can fight insecurity. How is he going to do it? When you are even saying the governor can fight it, we are not just deceiving ourselves. There was a Islamic governor who lamented that when his community was about to be overrun that day, he tried to reach out to the GOC, and the GOC said, no, call the Abuja. Now, if you have the power to call the commander, the GCO, and he cannot come to Abuja, what are you going to get all those things? The issue of insecurity is not very fundamental in this country. And I've made my position know that this is the only solution now. It was for we to legalize arms. Let those who have the resources to get it and let them have it and register it and have it. In the US at the time, kidnapping, robbery was very at the rampant. They put their head together and said, let's legalize arms. Let people who can afford it and have it.
Comrade, wouldn't that lead to anarchy? Wouldn't that lead to anarchy?
No, it's not anarchy. In the US, if you're in the US, don't you see your friends, they will open their arm and say, see my gun. You see them, they open it, you go to supermarket and you get a gun. Are they in anarchy? We cannot continue to say we're in Africa, we are going back. This is where we are now. We have to look for a drastic solution.
All right, comrade, your concluding thoughts, please. Your concluding thoughts, sir.
If you know, Mr. Okoro, if you know that I have a gun in my house, you cannot just buy it on my house to come and oppress me.
Okay.
You cannot come and say, let me call you. Everybody will not be, but I think we have to take the conversation higher.
All right.
Where we are now.
Your concluding thoughts, sir. Should I take that as a concluding thought?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, back to the studio. Barrister Asim, can we have your concluding thoughts in 1 minute, as fast as you can, sir?
My concluding thought is on security or insecurity, as the case may be. The government, number one, is not serious about securing Nigeria. And I still reiterate that for security to be enhanced and possible in Nigeria, the local government chairman, the governors, and the president, they must have to work in synergy. That is number one. Two, is that any particular governor or president that does not want to work in accordance with Section 14 sub 2B of the 1999 Constitution should just go and resign. The question I've asked is this: why is it that these bandits, that is the question the government must have to answer this question now if they really want to do these things. Local government chairman, governor, and the president. Why is it that every election cycle, once it's 2 years to election in Nigeria, killings, in Plateau, in Benue, in Zamfara, we, heighten.
Okay.
It's been a cycle. Once it's 2 years for an election in Nigeria, national election, you are going to see uprising and upsurge in violence in Benue, in Plateau, and Zamfara. So why have they not been able to unravel the reason behind all these things? Okay. Which means there's a political undertone to all these things.
All right, then. Thank you very much. And from you, Mr. Fanimo?
Well, mine is just that I go with the man from Benin Studio that, look, there should be balance of force. Let all of us bear arms. And to lay credence to this, look at the pattern of slaughtering in Kaduna South when El-Rufai was the governor. They will mop up arms from the communities. The second day, these marauders will come. And they are helpless. They are just like sitting duck. So let everybody bear arms. If you know you are coming to my house with AK-47 and I have my AK-47, then you know there is a contestation.
Okay. All right, then. Now, this will be a good place to anchor this conversation. We'll be speaking with 3 gentlemen from our Lagos studio here. We had Mr. Dele Fanimo. Dele is a seasoned reporter as well as VOP in-house analyst. We also had Barrister Asim Adam, a lawyer and political affairs analyst. And from our Benin station, we're joined by Comrade Roy Oriabo, a human rights activist as well as political affairs analyst. Gentlemen, thanks for being part of this show. We appreciate your presence on VOP this morning. On behalf of the backroom staff and my colleague here, Moses Humphrey, I am Chukwuma Okoro. Thanks for being part of this show. Moses and I return at 10 o'clock for Newspaper Review. Please do join us again then. Bye for now and enjoy the rest of your weekend.